one Granby native and Holyoke Catholic alum, recently committed his life to service in the Catholic Church as he was ordained a Franciscan priest. Father Joseph Powell was ordained May 2nd in Derry, New Hampshire. He recently sat down with Steve Kiltonick to talk about how, from an early age, he knew he wanted to give his life in service to God.
Over the past 2 decades, the Powells of Granby have been one of the most recognized families at Holyoke Catholic High School. That's because it's hard to hide when you're one of a dozen, children that is. Debbie and Robin Powell are the proud parents of 7 girls and 5 boys, all of whom attended Holyoke Catholic. The youngest, Gabrielle, will be the last child in the family to graduate from the school in a few weeks. All the Powells share a love for running and cross country. Here's Sam in 2010 crossing the finish line for the Gales. Joe, who graduated in 2006, also kept the tradition alive. Another quality all the Powell children share is the same middle name, Mary, which Debbie says is because of their devotion to the Blessed Mother.
We just love our Catholic faith, the sacraments, and just always participated in all the sacraments and always had religious books around the house. And so it'd be laying around the house and Joe would be the one to pick them up.
Joe was the 4th born son and 6th overall. Like his siblings, he loved to explore the woods and fields of the 14-acre Granby homestead. But Debbie and Robin felt there was always something different about Joe, who nearly died at birth when he stopped breathing.
He was in intensive care for quite a while following that, and so he was total gift from the moment he was born.
From the time he was really little. He'd be the one to help out, be the one to step in, do the dishes, or you didn't have to ask him. I did feel like he had a call. I didn't know exactly what that was. It was distinct. There was something distinct about it.
Joe says growing up, he was initially inspired spiritually by his brothers.
I definitely looked up to my older brothers a lot because they were altar servers, Rob, Bill, and Mike. And so I remember being very small and sort of seeing them serve on the altar and thinking, oh man, I want to do that. Like, I want to be up there and holding the cross or serving with the priest.
The Powells attend Immaculate Heart of Mary in Granby and faithfully took their family to Mass every week.
But there were other things that kept the Catholic spirit very alive. Once a month, I remember for the longest time, when I was in grade school, we'd have other families come over once a month for a rosary. We'd pray the rosary, and then afterwards we would feast on whatever snacks they had brought over. That always stuck with me, that faith and your faith life with God is not just about religion, but it's about celebrating life, and it's about living joyfully with others and sharing what you have with others.
It was here at the former St. Hyacinth Seminary, which the Franciscans called home for many years before Holyoke Catholic moved in, that Joe Powell started to seriously think about becoming a priest. And it was the strong presence of the Franciscans here and at his home parish that had a lasting impact on his life. Every weekend, the friars from nearby St. Hyacinth would visit the parish and celebrate Mass.
I always remember that, even as an altar server, being very impressed by them because they just struck me as very joyful guys, very down-to-earth guys, and guys you could just talk to, you could joke with, and they gave wonderful homilies. Once in a while they'd come over to visit us here at the house, and they'd come over in their robes and just have a really great time with us. But no, at the very heart of it, they were spirit-filled men who really gave off just a very gentle joy. And for me, that kind of sunk deep down in the back of my mind.
Father James McCurry has known the Powell family since Debbie and Robin married, which was the same year he arrived at the seminary.
There was always something unique about Joe Powell among his siblings. He used to go on retreats with his father, even as a little boy. He would come and pray before the Blessed Sacrament here in the church. Something kept drawing him to God, to the altar. We Franciscans always thought that he might have a vocation, not just to be a priest, but to be a Franciscan.
Father Adrian Benoit, the former pastor at Immaculate Heart, has known Joe since he was in high school. He remembers Joe running over 3 miles from his house to Mass.
He grew spiritually very, very fast in high school. He would try to make Mass as often as possible, come to confession at least once a month, receive the sacraments, always served, and always was generous with his help towards the church. And so you could see him growing in a spiritual way. I knew right from the beginning that the vocation was in his heart.
Joe said it was a slow process before he realized the importance of having a true relationship with God.
Going from junior high into high school, I started trying to take prayer life more seriously, reading spiritual books, getting good advice from other people who were thinking of religious life or priestly life. For me, it was that whole gradual walk with God that slowly revealed to me, okay, I may not know exactly where I'm going, but God has given me different indications just along the way.
Joe visited the Springfield Diocese and the Marians in Stockbridge. But when he went on a retreat to the Franciscan Order of Friars Minor in Boston, it suddenly clicked.
When I was with the friars, and I saw how comfortable I was with them, they really fulfilled that joyful, community-centered vision of life that just always inspired me. I'm like, wow, this is it.
Joe joined the Franciscan OFM order and began 8-year studies to become a friar. He served at parishes in Canada and Boston, studied 5 years in Rome at the Franciscan University before returning home to complete pastoral work at St. Thomas Aquinas Parish in Derry, New Hampshire, where he has served for the past 2 years. Joe was ordained a transitional deacon in Connecticut and returned home last fall to say his first Mass with Father Benoit.
Father Joe's simplicity is his greatest quality. He's simple, down to earth, no airs about him, nothing highfalutin, a simple little Franciscan friar filled with joy.
The culmination of Joe's spiritual journey took place May 2nd when he was ordained a Franciscan friar in Derry. For Joe's parents, the experience was overwhelming.
And to see all his friars, his brothers there, I looked over at them. They were in the pews to our right, and they were just really praying for him. But the beauty of the priesthood, not just Joe.
It was just very, extremely moving, just so, just a blessed event, you know.
I really did just feel amazed and humbled at the overflow of grace that was present at that day. It was just another overwhelming experience of community, and I really felt, oh wow, this is another graced and gifted moment from God that shows you that your vocation is not just you, but it's everyone that is involved.
The next day, Father Joe celebrated his first Mass as a friar at Immaculate Heart of Mary. Returning home to Granby and all the familiar faces gives Father Joe a tremendous sense of gratitude.
They've been so supportive, even when I made the decision and told everyone, okay, I'm going to enter the Franciscan Friars. I just remember that everyone came to me and said, oh, you know, we're so proud of you and so grateful, and we're going to keep you in our prayers. And really just reiterating, you can always come back here, this is your home.
Father Joe has been reassigned back to St. Thomas Aquinas, where he will most likely spend another 2 to 3 years. He calls the New Hampshire parish vibrant and an extraordinary place to be a friar. From there, he could be sent anywhere the friars need him. He's hoping maybe it will be the Holy Land.
You never know where the Spirit blows, so, yeah. But yeah, I never, even in my wildest dreams, never could imagine it would have turned out this way. And you just think, when you give yourself to God, how much He blesses you in ways you never imagined. So it's really awesome.
Wherever the wind takes Father Joe, he's sure to make a spiritual impact on all those whose paths he crosses. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonick.